if he prepped Ty for a show and Ty won a show, it'd be like he'd won a ticker tape parade, like the Patriots or something.
10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome back to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined here with Chris, the technician Aceto. And Chris, that was Chris fantasizing about if Steve Bleckman ever prepped Kai Green for the Arnold Classic that was coming up, and he won the show.
Yeah, late entry Dave.
He would use his dry and hard techniques, right?
Yeah. Fishing green beans.
Asphyxiation training.
Yeah, and then they could have a ticker tape parade. They could shred up all the unsold MDs.
All the ones that they got to throw out at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, because you got to, I could use that to when I'm up in Maine.
Kindling, yeah.
Kindling. You just burn the stuff.
Yeah.
Causes a lot of creosol in the wood stove, but
creosol in the wood stove.
Like hardens the
I know.
Sugar hardens the arteries. MD, the color pages cause creosol buildup in my chimney.
Very environmentally safe now, Chris. Yeah, we should go on a campaign about how Bleckman is causing the ruination of trees for no reason, and they're not even using the paper. I was even reading it. I was even reading the magazines. So they released the Arnold Classic list for the upcoming show. And no surprise that the Rhoden's not on it.
Well, it's a surprise because they already bamboozled everybody and said he was in it.
Yeah, it was. I think
him and Ramy. I think they meant 2023 or something. I don't know.
It was. You know what? I think that that was terribly carried out. To be honest with you,
well,
how could there not be a lack of? How could there be such a lack of communication between?
Because there's no communication.
I mean, the Arnold people legitimately thought he was in the show. There's no doubt about that. Because
Shawn Rhoden legitimately thought he was in the show because the Arnold people told him you're in the show.
Yeah. And they told me that, too. They confirmed it to me via text. So they had every intention of letting Shawn on the show. And then, obviously, the IFBB changed their mind, and felt that it wasn't, the right decision to make and that Shawn should get through his case first. Do we know when Shawn's trial is even set for at this point?
No. I have no idea.
Wow. I got to say, I'm going to be honest with you, it's taken a long time because I don't think the OJ trial took this long to start.
Well, maybe it's not such a slam dunk that the bank robber thought it would be.
That's true. It's possible. It is absolutely possible that it's not.
Maybe.
I hope for Shawn's sake it isn't.
Yeah. Well, right. If it a slam dunk case, you want to bring it to trial right away.
Right. Yeah,
because it is by definition, it's a slam dunk.
Right, unless the defense needs time. Maybe his Rick Collins has taken a longer time to go over all the data and all the stuff. But there's got to be a lot of. I would hate to have to go through all that discovery. Oh my God!
Dude, someone had a slip and fall on a property mine. I had 84 pages of crap, so I wouldn't be sued. PJ
told me that with the case that he's going through with Blackstone, there was 1 million pages. 1 million. They had to pay someone to go through it all too.
1 million pages. Ink on my printer. 1 million.
A million pages. That's crazy. But if Rhoden would have been in this lineup, this would have been an Olympia lineup. For sure.
Well, it is an Olympia. It's turning out to be. It's
still an Olympia
lineup. Yeah. The Olympia. Which Olympia lineup? Because this Olympia lineup wasn't an Olympia lineup.
This is better than the Olympia, I think, lineup. I have to say.
No, it's I would say it's.
It would have been better if Rhoden was in the lineup, but we've got Lionel Baiki, William Bonac, who was second at the Olympia, Max Charles, Big Ramy, who we didn't see on stage last year at all, who has been as high as second, Dexter, who's a living legend, Johnny Jackson, who's coming out of retirement, it seems, Kuklo, who was very impressive in 19, Josh Lenartowicz, who's coming off that 2000. Horrible season in 19 he had to deal with the brain tumor he had before the Olympia. He missed that, so he's going to be back in action. Thank God. so happy that everything worked out. We have Victor Martinez, who's always dangerous in the lineup. Cedric McMillan, who's won this show, and he's the wild card there because you never know who's going to show up. Patrick Moore, who's probably got more hype after that Olympia 10th place, I guess you could say, poor showing when he should have been way higher. Is getting a lot of love as the guy who could be the dark horse in this lineup. Sergio Oliva Jr., who's always dangerous, New York Pro champ a couple of years ago. Akeem Williams, who's may have competed more. Between him and Juan, I don't know who competed more in 2019, but he certainly got his money's worth out of that year. And then Ruli Winkler's on the list, but I heard from you that you heard a rumor that he's out now. Is that the case?
Yeah, I heard he's out. I mean, it's a rumor, but it's an unconfirmed, strong rumor that he's out.
Now, I didn't think it was a good idea that he'd do it anyway, to be honest with you, because I think that his body I think he just needed some time off.
But he had the if you look back, he had he was 2018 third place at the Olympia.
Right.
And then we had the Arnold and Olympia win predictions from Beta, and he bombed out in both of them.
Yeah, he was supposedly. Did he hurt himself for the Arnold? I don't. Which was when he hurt himself? Did he hurt himself before the Arnold or the Olympia? There was two excuses.
I don't know.
He was not good. He got a gift pretty much at both shows.
You get him big, yeah.
And I think he'd probably be the first person to admit that he probably wasn't at his best.
Hey, maybe. I mean, some people don't, but
I mean, we don't even know what's going on. He could have had some personal issues the whole year. We don't know for sure. So he's out, which is probably a good move for him. Let him regroup, maybe do the New York Pro or something like that. And, because he's got to requalify again. So we'll definitely see him on stage before the Olympia.
What place did you get the Olympia this year?
Was he fifth?
Fifth?
Yeah.
Top 5 qualifier? No.
Is it top 5 or top 3?
God, please don't tell me it's top 3.
It's probably top 5. Maybe
I'm
thinking
top
the Arnold.
5.
Is it the Arnold that it's only top 3? I don't know. They keep changing the rules.
Arnold is not top 3 because Luke was third last year and he was not qualified.
Oh, really? So it's just the winner?
He had to get out the calculator and do like 19 more shows and get in on the points.
It was good though. He made a big name for himself, I think, last year. So that was actually pretty good, I think, in that sense.
Well, he beat Beta's Rolly, and so that was good at the Arnold. That quieted him down.
What do you think in terms of that lineup? Who would you say is the favorite in your mind? If you had to just off the cuff,
I would say in that lineup, the technical favorite with a big asterisk is Bonac.
Because he's second place off the Olympia.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to go with the placings, even though obviously he was not at his best at the Olympia.
Arguably, he was at his best at the Arnold though, when he just narrowly lost to Curry. Which is
true. And in addition to him being second at the Arnold, which he looked great, second at the Olympia, which he didn't look great in my opinion, and I think he would agree with that likely. If not, that's fine too. He should agree with it. He's been consistent for like 4 years. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't remember when he's never ever done a show where you say could have been tighter or leaner.
Right.
He's just continuously gotten either, a little bit better or a lot bit better. And so technically on paper, he's probably the guy to beat. And then you got Cedric, who could beat him easily. Cedric could easily beat him.
And he has beaten him before.
Yeah, he has beaten him. Yeah, of course he has, multiple times. It's just which Cedric shows and which Bonac shows, and it's the lineup. It's right. It's always how people come in. I mean, it's not like an Olympia where or a show where there's no done deal there. That's for sure.
It's going to be a tough lineup. I mean, by any means. I mean, Big Ramy, you would have to believe, has got to be considered, one of the favorites too. Because here's a guy who's by far the biggest guy on stage, especially with Ruli out of the lineup now, and he had a whole year off, so he's got no excuses why he would be burnt out or anything like that. Assuming, and I don't know who's working with him, if there's anyone working with him, assuming he can get himself into shape.
There's no way he can get himself into shape, so he's working with someone. Take that to the bank.
Or you know him. You've been in that corner before.
Yeah.
Who could he be working with? He's pretty much exhausted every trainer.
No, that's right. It's definitely someone new, and I could narrow it down to 2 people, but I won't say it.
Who? Patrick?
No, I won't. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But I won't say it because I don't want to be wrong and insult one of the others. Meaning, I mean, it's two people, 2 qualified people. It's one of 2,
right?
For sure. Both good, probably. Both good choices, but that's Ramy. He just keeps picking at the next apple tree.
Right, but he's working.
If that doesn't work, throw that one out. That doesn't work, throw that one out.
Well, what do you think is the problem? Is he not as good as we think he is?
Well, he's as big as we think he is.
Right.
It's just that at shows in which he's competed, he's gone up against, to use the apple analogy again, he's gone up against different fruit. I mean, he's gone up against Rhoden and Phil, and they're put together differently than he is. He's still bigger than them, for sure.
Right.
He's gone up against Dexter, who's put together different than him. I'm not saying these guys are even better than him, because he's got, of course, more mass. But some of the mass is exposed with certain amount of unique tie-ins and certain amount of level of extra conditioning that it's always hard to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Dexter's gifted in the glutes and hams. You know what I mean, from all angles.
Sure.
And Phil's got the glutes and hams, and Shawn's got the glutes and hams, but they got it for like in spades and spades.
Yeah, it's like
which
ridiculous.
exposes like a Ramy or a Rolly. Even though that those guys are bigger than, even Rolly's bigger than the people I just mentioned. So, and he's gone up against and lost to like a tremendous version of Dennis Wolf. He's lost to Rhoden. He's lost to Phil. He's lost to Dexter. He's lost to who else has he lost to? Where he's ends up like 5th or 6th in the Olympia. I mean, a small group of people.
Bonac?
Very small.
Has he lost to Bonac?
He's lost to Bonac, technically, yeah. He lost to Bonac on the tour.
Yeah.
I mean, he did, on the judges' scores.
So, taking this time off for Big Ramy, good move? Bad move? Would you have put him into a show before the end of the year, or do you think this is a good to let him wait till March?
I mean, I think it's, if you're going to win it, you're going to win it. So it doesn't matter.
So he's got to go to the big show. He's got to go to the Arnold.
Yeah.
At this point,
he's got to go no matter what. Because if he had gone to Tampa and won Tampa or won, whatever show, it doesn't matter. Those shows are completely irrelevant. In building the career and the name recognition that you want, it all boils down to the Olympia and the Arnold.
The interesting thing is that he still is one of the youngest guys on the circuit, even though he's not, as young as he was, and he's been around a while. We've been waiting for him to kind of take control and win this thing, and it hasn't happened, but he's still relatively young. I mean, if you look at the lineup, everyone else is probably older than him. Maybe there's one guy who, might be a little younger than him, and I don't even know. I don't even know if Kuklo's younger than him, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Or Patrick. What is Patrick Moore? He's older, I think, too.
36.
So, yeah.
36.
So Ramy's definitely got youth on his age, got youth on his side.
Yeah. I mean, it's he's got all the tools. Everyone knows that. It's just a matter of how the other people come in. But the quote lineups are shrinking because you don't have Rhoden and you don't have Phil, so you take them out, and he's going into a lineup essentially where he's very capable of winning.
Right. And
might come down to a Bonac. The year he was second, it was Bonac was second in prejudge and Ramy was third, and then it switched at night. So there's the lineup right there in terms of technically where it should fall.
Is Dexter Jackson a top 4-5 guy here?
Well, he was at the Olympia. What was he, 4th or 5th at the Olympia? Fourth. So yeah, he's obviously right in the running. Depends how other people come in, and it depends also how well they mix it up. I mean, remember, he was in pretty good shape at the Olympia, but a lot of people were way off at the Olympia.
Right. Well, now we have, is Patrick Moore going to be taken more seriously here? No pun intended.
I would think that he has to get a better look, simply because he's got the hype behind him.
I mean, you work with him. Can he win this?
I'd have to see him on stage and next to people. You know, I mean, he can beat a lot of people on the front double. He can beat a lot of people on the front lat spread. He can beat a lot of people on the abs shot. He can beat a lot of people in the side shots. You know, I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, I'm not saying he can win all those shots.
Right. I mean, Bonac maybe has a little bit more polish and completeness to his physique. Let's give him that.
He's not bunched up like Bonac.
Right. But Ramy's bigger.
Yep.
Dexter's sharper. But
Dexter was not sharper at the Olympia. That's for damn sure.
But we can get that sharper. But I think Patrick Moore is going to improve from the Olympia. I think he's one of these guys we're going to see is better.
Just clarify that. Dexter was not as sharp as Patrick at the Olympia. No way.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point where Patrick got his hype from, because he didn't get it from being the biggest guy on stage. He got it from being the tightest.
He was pretty big too, I got to tell you. I thought he was pretty big on stage.
He's big enough for that condition.
What do you weigh?
Let's see, what was he? I think low 230s.
Oh, so he was lighter than he looked bigger to me, than he really was. Okay. What was he? Has he put on any muscle since the Olympia?
I think he's put on a little. I think he's put on a little size since the Olympia. You know, it's hard to say because sometimes you don't know until it's all dieted away.
He's the kind of guy who'll start dieting for the show. He'll put on 5 pounds
Blow
of muscle
up,
too.
yeah, of course.
He'll grow into it.
That's exactly.
There's very few people can do that. That's like a Ronnie Coleman,
he'll train we mentioned Ronnie Coleman. He doesn't have any days off.
Oh, he doesn't take days off. He's one of those guys.
No days off. He didn't take days off. I think for about 18 weeks
from. He told me that too. Yeah, when I interviewed him.
Yeah, so it's like whatever he does. You know how Coleman does like chest, shoulders, dry back by legs, and just repeats it.
Yeah.
But Coleman used to take Sunday off for church.
I think you're right. You're right.
And I think that Patrick goes to church but still trains.
Still trains. Yeah, I don't know how guys don't take days off. I mean, you have to have some superior genetics to recover.
Well, you would love to train 7 days a week if you had the recovery, wouldn't you? Back in the day,
of course, yeah.
You would love to live across the street from Gold's, whatever the hotel is.
Yeah, there you go.
And train a double split 7 days a week.
Yeah. I was a terrible overtrainer though. I mean, I very easily overtrained, not because I tried to, but because I just didn't recover. I had a terrible even when I was on drugs and stuff like that. I did not recover well. And the funny thing was, I just didn't need to train that much. I grew if I took less days off. And Dorian said the same thing. Dorian said, I kept taking more and more days off, and I kept getting bigger. He goes, it's crazy. People don't realize you put muscle on while you on the days off, not on the days you're training.
I know, but some people they put it on. It's crazy, isn't it?
But I bet you if someone like Patrick took days off, he'd probably even grow more. I bet you because I remember Dorian told me. Remember Dorian said that when he would diet for these shows, he would come down too low because he wanted to get so shredded that he probably could have competed, 15 pounds heavier, And I believe that's
you're right.
I think Patrick Moore succeeds despite himself. You know how the old saying goes.
Yeah.
So
no, you're probably right.
Because doesn't he train with Labrada?
Well, I don't know if I'm not sure if they train together or, I think they may train together
once in a while or something like that. Or does he train with Hunter or Lee?
No, that's what I mean. Hunter. I thought you meant Hunter.
No, I know Lee helps him with his posing a little bit, but I didn't know if.
No, he's got the same exact routine. If you look at it,
I know, it's crazy, right?
Same music, same.
Oh shit! What about Josh Lenartowicz? What do you think about him? I mean, I had interviewed
kind of sort of a wild card,
Is it a good move for him to do this show? I mean, I don't know what his health,
with the brain tumor.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, probably
not. Not because they're just it's like doing NASCAR with a rebuilt engine.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? It's. I mean, you love the sport. I get it. I get the whole idea. Blah blah blah. Risky anyway, and people love the health, but it just. I'm
going to ask Josh to come on the show. I'd like to know his mindset on the whole thing because it is weird. I know he had a very tough time when he saw Dallas McCarver, who was a good friend of his, die. And, now he kind of had this little health scare. Maybe it's not as bad as we think, but to me, yeah, it seems a little. I mean, he just had a new baby. It's kind of like a weird decision. But this is what he loves to do. It's hard to tell someone who when you love something, to not do it. And I'm sure he got the all clear from the doctor in the sense of that his health is fine, but who knows? I don't know. These are things that have to be made from, you and I can't tell him what to do. Just like,
No, but you asked me if it was a good decision.
Yeah,
That's all.
and I agree with you, to be honest with you. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of a 51-year-old guy who's got a family and not someone who's in the heat of the action, so to speak. I'm removed.
You would definitely do it then if you were training in his age.
I don't know because I didn't have a kid, Chris. When you have a child, things change. Like my brain changed, my whole outlook on life changed when I had my first child, and I completely saw things from a much less selfish perspective. Like I wasn't the most important person anymore. They are. And so I keep saying to myself, God, I can't even imagine if my kids had to grow up without me. And it could happen anyway.
Yeah.
It's like a terrible thing to think about. And so if I felt like I was causing or potentially causing, a health issue that could result in me not being here for my kids and seeing them grow up, I don't know if I can live with that. Because you could recreate yourself. This guy is already a legend in Australia. He can make a lot of money. He doesn't need to compete. If he put his efforts into training and people and doing diets and just promoting bodybuilding, I'm sure he can promote shows up there with Tony Doherty. They're like best friends. I mean, he can make a very good living for himself if he wanted to. So, but it's a personal decision. Like I said, I would never foo-foo anyone's decision or say it's bad because I'm not in their shoes. What about Victor Martinez?
I don't know. I thought Victor looked really good last year, and
He did, right?
Yeah, he looked very good last year.
I think at this point he just needs to get into better shape. I think he put all his muscle back, right?
I don't know. I thought he was in great shape last year.
Yeah.
So it's I would like to think that he's some type of weird outlier, wild card. I mean, is Dexter that much better than him?
I don't know. I think Dexter gets a little harder. I think Victor was good,
Yeah,
but I think if Victor was saran wrapped, like remember when you did the Night of Champions with him? Obviously, he's not going to look like that. He doesn't have the same physique, and he's not. That was a long time ago. But I mean, if he had that kind of conditioning, which anyone can get conditioning, I think that he would be very dangerous still with his structure.
No, he's got structure and tie-ins.
Yeah,
he's got great structure, great tie-ins.
So where does Dexter fall in this line? Is Dexter one of these guys like he always is? He's waiting in the wings, waiting for these guys to come in a little off, and then just, hey, I'm going to win the show. Is that a possible scenario? Or is there too many good guys in this lineup?
It's a tough lineup for him because, like, if Ramy's off, Ramy's still bigger, right?
Right.
And so Dexter's in the middle, Ramy's on one side, and then Bonac's on the other. Bonac is like a thicker version of, you know what I mean? He's a thicker version of Dexter in terms of they're both short.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree with that.
He's got more muscle than Dexter, and he gets in really good condition. So does Dexter get in really good condition, and so I think that negates some of Dexter's, would-be advantage. And then they have to stand next to Ramy, and there's other people in the lineup too, of course. But I mean, those are the ones that jump out at me right immediately in terms of contrast and Dexter's physique, contrasting it with because it's a game of contrasts, Oh,
I heard a rumor too that Nathan Diaz is going to be added to this lineup. So. Not that I don't think he's going to be a factor in terms of winning the show, but he certainly could be a top 5 guy.
Yeah. So there, he replaced Rowley.
Right. What about Steve Kukla?
Steve Kukla was very good. I mean, there's just you can go down each one of these guys at their best you have to throw him into some weird dark horse category. I mean, Kukla's big, he's round, he's full, he's dense. He's beaten people in the past. He was really close last year. I mean, he was really big last year. And he was hard too. He just I don't know, could have been a little bit tighter in prejudging, or for both the prejudging and night show, and that kind of held him back. But I mean, he was, takes up a lot of space. He's wide. He's brought up his weak back. I mean, it still, I guess, could be better, but I mean, everyone has their weaknesses. So, if some people are off, he moves up.
And then there's Cedric.
Could be a cakewalk. Might not be a cakewalk.
Is Cedric today, 2020? When we do the show, is he as good as he was 5 years ago? We're talking about age now.
Ah, boy, is he as good as he was 5 years ago? He could be as good as he was. Yes.
So you still think he has the tool set?
It's an unbelievable question.
The age is not a factor.
No, it's not. It's not, because if you look back at the Olympia, if you just have a good imagination and imagine what he looked like sharper, he would have won.
Yeah.
Because he was gigantic.
He was big.
He was big as hell, and he was round, and he was like there but not there. You know what I mean? Like lean and close, and holding the slight film that held him back. And
right.
But if you take off the film and take off the little bit of body fat, it gets back to did he have the same amount of muscle that he had 5 years ago? And the answer is yes. I think.
Yeah.
I bet if you asked him his weight too, that would be reflective of the fact that he does still have. I mean, it's not like he's competing at a lighter weight.
I say he's the dark horse in this lineup because we don't.
That's why I said that he could.
Or he's the surprise, because we don't know. He'll either be terrible or he'll be great.
Yeah.
This is his show, though. He's Mr. March, that's for sure. He's definitely not Mr. October, or Mr. September, rather. He's a horrible Mr. September, that's for sure. He's a very good Mr. March. Well, it's going to be an exciting lineup, I think. I'm glad that they got such a good response. It's a shame that Rhoden won't be in the lineup, although I think Rhoden would have walked through this lineup. But I think we're going to have to wait till the end of the year to see Rhoden. I hope by the Olympia time he's already, his case is settled and everything, and he's a free man, first of all, I hope. And then secondly, he could obviously come back and defend his Olympia title from 2 years ago. Now, the classic physique division, by the way, I want to commend the Arnold people, and they got rid of that cattle call they used to do, for the classic and the women's physique and the men's physique, where they just let 100 people show up and then only the top 10 make it to the night show. Thank God they got rid of it. They actually invited people this year, made it normal. I see that Steve Lorius is going to be in this lineup. Ricky Moten, Santi Aragon, Alex Cabernero. You have any horses in this one?
No, I don't. I'm listening to
it's a small lineup. Yeah, I don't really see too many people. Toto DeJong, Klaus Drescher, Yang Ju, a lot of Asian guys. Abner Logan, Orlando Maldonado. I don't know some of these guys. Abtin Shekarabi. They must have gone for the completely international, field as they always do. Men's physique, I see Andre Ferguson is going to be back to defend his title. Brandon Hendrickson, former Mr. Olympia and former Arnold Classic champ, will be in the lineup as well. I do not see our Olympia champ, Ray Edmonds. So he must be sitting this one out. Fitness is stacked as always. I got figure. It's probably the biggest division. I see Latoria Watts in that lineup. Do I see our Olympia champ in the lineup? I do not see her. Sydney Gill, no. She must be taking a break. So this show is open for Latoria to win. She can knock out the rest of these girls. Bikini International stacked, and I see they have a. Thank God the women's physique lineup is by invitation only now. That's good to see. And they have a pro wheelchair division, as they've been doing the last couple of years, with Harold Kelly, the guy who seems to be unbeatable. He's like the Ronnie Coleman of the pro wheelchair division.
No days off.
No days off, right? There you go. And those guys don't even train legs, They don't take days off. So that's going to be taking place the beginning of March, as it always does. March 7th, 2020.
Are you allowed to go?
I don't know. We'll see. Play by ear. Oh, Amanda's packing up all the kids' Christmas gifts now. Because they're all asleep, and she found a Peppa Pig shirt. My kids are obsessed. Do you know who Peppa Pig is?
No, of course I don't know who Peppa Pig is. Your kids are like
You have a young child now. He doesn't watch Peppa Pig?
No, he's 6.
No. Who's the new one? How old's the new one?
6 months.
Only 6 months. All right. My daughter, who's only 3 months, is watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I don't think she understands it, but she seems to smile a lot when it's on. Peppa Pig is a Brit. My father would like this. That's why I think Logan likes, because he's like a clone of my dad. It's like a British, like little comic cartoon. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. And it's like very Britishy jokes and stuff like that. But it's educational, They teach you a lot of stuff, but it's like very like it's kind of dry humor, which I'm surprised. Surprised my daughter hated it at first. Now she likes it because my son made her watch it 16 hours a day. They watch it, and they watch the same episodes over and over again. So Peppa Pig, I guess now there's merchandise for Peppa Pig, and it's expensive merchandise.
Yeah, I used to watch when my kids were little. My oldest kids were little. They used to watch a British one called, I think it was Kibber the dog, and the dog sounded like it was Peter McGuff. And the humor was bizarre, because I was thinking, why did it's an adult wouldn't even laugh at it. You kind of like smirk at it. Or maybe giggle once in a while at it, but like the kids, I'm like, well, what are they getting out of it? What are they?
Whenever the pigs talk, Peppa Pig and her family, it's always, every time they say something, they go. After that, they end all sentences with like a pig. My mother-in-law's like, what are they doing? What are they snorting for? I said, they're pigs. I said, they gotta snort, otherwise you're not gonna know the pigs. And then there's Susie Sheep, and there's like Madame Gazelle. There's a gazelle, but she's the teacher, Madame Gazelle, and it's pretty funny. Anyway, it's so stupid that it's brilliant. You know how sometimes things are so simplistic that they're absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant. And I didn't realize how. To me, I thought it was ridiculous when I first started watching it. And then I started watching. I'm like, they're actually teaching these kids vocabulary words in here, but they do it in a very non-invasive way. Like, you don't even realize it. They'll do like, let's pick some blueberries from the tree. Blueberries are a fruit. They'll go through it. So like, and they use they'll use vocabulary words too, and they'll be like, so and so means this and that and that. And I'm like, well, this is pretty good. I'd rather have my kids watching this than my son watches the Hulk. And he's like loses his mind. He turns into the Hulk. He becomes the Hulk while he's watching it. And before last night, my wife had a cup of coffee on the table, and he drank almost a half of it at like 8:00 at night. Was he
still up?
Oh my God, he was. But the funny thing was, he wasn't hyperactive. He was like mentally focused. He just wasn't tired.
Well, maybe he's got what happens?
AD,
ADHD or whatever it is.
Or ADH or something.
Stimulants just make you concentrate better. They don't
focus is better, right? He was like very. Concentrating on everything that was going on the screen there. So Christmas is coming up. So I thought we had enough gifts, but my wife Amanda decided she was going to go to the store and get more.
You could always have unlimited gifts for little kids. It's just like ripping open the gifts and the paper and boxes and
they're at the age where they want gifts, but it's almost like they don't really know yet. You know what I mean? How important
of course they don't know yet. That's why they just know about the ripping the rat. They just rip through stuff.
My son and daughter, they're into like these kitchen sets, like where you can pretend you're cooking and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So we found, and they wanted a playhouse, so we found a playhouse that's a kitchen, basically the kitchen. So it's like a 2-in-1. They're gonna go crazy with that. But the problem is that my son thinks that every gift is his. So if like my daughter gets something, it was my daughter's birthday on the 21st.
Yes, yeah.
And she got my mother-in-law bought her some gifts, and so every time she opened something up, my son started crying because he wasn't getting a gift too. He thought it was his. He wanted to take it away from her. He got mad in the supermarket because they gave him they gave my daughter a free balloon. He wanted the balloon. So I'm sure I was the same way when I was a kid. My sister,
everything you want.
Everything was only for me, right?
It's all yours.
It's really funny though. She's like, she'll share everything with him. That's the funny thing. He's the one who's all selfish. He doesn't want to share anything. Everything is his, and he wants to dish it out too. He wants to be able to tell people who can have what.
So, he wants to take it all and then decide when they can use it.
Yeah, here are you. You can have this now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so she wouldn't.
But I'll get it back.
He wanted something that she had gotten for her birthday. I forget what it was. And I said, Logan, you got to use logic. You got to use. You got to outmaneuver her. You got to give her something that she wants, that she doesn't know she wants, and then you can get her to trade. So I said, why don't you get one of your Hulk dolls and give her the Hulk doll, because she knows you like those a lot, and maybe she'll give you the thing that she's got. Uh-huh. He got the concept, but he wasn't willing to turn over the Hulk to her, any of the Hulk. So he went and got something else, like a little teddy bear or something like that. And he said, Ari, you need to have this. You give me that. And she did it. Worked. I said, you see? You can't just pull things out of people's hands. You got to you have to learn to negotiate with them. That's a word. It means you give something.
You need your own cartoon show.
That's right.
You can start it. You can start with you need your own show. Kai has a puppet, and you have the Bleckman puppet. That's how we started the show. I was kidding and said Bleckman was going to prep Kai, but they both have puppets. Actually,
I have a Farrah puppet and I have a Bleckman puppet, but probably the Kai puppet would be very easy to get. I'm sure they have like a Bob Marley puppet or something.
He has one. He travels with it. I think it has its own Instagram page. It has like 3 million followers. The puppet has like 3 million followers. Does it really? That's how popular Kai is. Yeah. Kai's got like 20 million, and the puppet has like 3 million.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that was very popular we did this past week. I interviewed Ed Connors, who is the former owner of Gold's Gym franchise and Gold's Gym in Venice.
Yeah.
So you worked for him, obviously. You know Ed very
funny.
well.
I listened to the Arnie List interview, and Arnie was headed back to Vermont, right? According to Arnie.
Yeah.
And Ed, the owner of Gold's, cornered him as he was headed to LAX. And said, "You want a job?" And that was it. Arnie was like, "Okay, I'm staying in California." I was down to like zero money.
Actually, hold on. The real story is that he went back because he wanted to think about it. He decided, "Fuck it, I'm going." He got his girl. They got in the car and they drove. And he didn't call Ed till he was in Arkansas and said, "Ed, by the way, I hope that job offer still stands because I'm in Arkansas right now, and I'm not heading back, and I'm not staying in Arkansas."
Yeah, so I was broke and in the Gold's Gym parking lot, and Ed offered me to manage a gym, and it was I'm trying to think, it was, what town was it in? Oh man, if you said, it was mega boondocks of California.
Oh really?
Yeah, Lompoc, or not Lompoc. It was.
And you wanted to be in Venice, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. I wanted to. I'm you know me, Dave. He says, "You want to manage a Gold's Gym?" I thought I heard, "Do you want to manage
Gold's?" You thought it meant that one, the Venice Gold's, right?
I'm like, say that again. Dave, I definitely said, "Say that again." And he said, "Do you want to manage a Gold's Gym?" And then I got a little let down. I'm like, "Which Gold's Gym?" And then he told me the name, and I'm like,
the one by the jail.
No. That's when he said, okay, you want to do diets for people,
Yeah,
but
that was, yeah.
wasn't Fed Connors, I wouldn't have stayed in California.
Were you doing diets for people before that?
Yeah, I was doing
Oh,
diets for people, but I had no network,
Right.
and Ed allowed me to have an office next to his, and he allowed me to put like a sign, like this giant sign, Dave, as you come into Gold's Gym Venice, nutrition consultations by Chris Aceto, and like next door.
So did he?
I mean,
did he make you a household name because of that? I mean, because people thought you had
100%.
validation because it's Gold.
100%. I had a sign in gold. So to contrast it, people who were training people back in that day, there was like a bulletin board, and you could put a business card out.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
A business card is like 2 inches by 3 inches. And there was like 1 million people, and it would have like, they'd have a little business card, John Smith or Dave Palumbo or, whoever. And they'd maybe have like a front of a bicep on it and their beeper number or whatever, and, personal training. And it'd be amongst a sea of little business cards on this bulletin board. And Ed said, you need an A board. I said, what's an A board? It's like a giant sign like restaurants have, like out on the sidewalk.
Right.
You came into Gold, so you'd have to go around it to get through the gate.
Right. Did you pay for that, or did he pay for that?
No, I paid for that. I paid for that, and then I met, because Arnie was working behind the desk, and I met a lady in sales who she changed my life, because she when you meet someone who knows how to sell something, it's stunning how people can sell anything, right? Haven't you ever heard that they could sell anything?
Yeah, a good salesperson could sell gyms, they could sell cars, they could sell houses.
Yeah, this lady was actually a client of mine, and she made some cockamamie price on what we would charge, and she would go in 50-50 with me.
Oh, really?
So she would, but I would be getting paid like 10 times what I was getting paid.
She's like, look, I'll take 50%, but I'm going to charge like 100 times more than what you were going to charge.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, if you can get that, and like 3 minutes later, she got the first client,
So she must have been making herself a lot of money too then.
She was making a ton of money.
50%'s a lot. And she didn't have to do anything.
Yep. She didn't do anything, and I never. That was a handshake deal, and I never reneged. I never reneged on it.
How many clients do you think she got you?
Oh my God, enough to make a ton of money.
For both of you.
Yeah.
What were you charging? What was it like for instance?
Oh gosh, I was charging at the time. I think a consultation went up to like way back then, Dave, $200.
Oh my God. Wow.
An hour.
Really? Wow. So you would do like an hour with these people, and they would pay 200. You'd make 100. She'd make 100.
Yeah. I'd make 100. She'd make 100. And I do like a lot of times I do. I mean, sometimes I do 8 in a day.
Wow. You were making her a fortune.
Yeah, because she'd go out and she'd find people.
But you would never have these people anyway, so that's.
Yeah, I would never get them. I'd never be able to get them. I'd have no access to them. I wouldn't know how to.
What'd you have to pay Ed? Did Ed have like
nothing? Of course, that was it. Nothing.
You had free rent. You had free rent. That's great.
Yeah, I had free everything. Ed, that's why I say Ed is like
Why did you ever even leave there? That must have been the greatest setup of all time.
It was the greatest setup of all time. Did you
just get burnt out?
No, I left because I left on a whim. True story is I went to Gregory Hines' house.
Right. Were you training
him? Yep. Gregory had a. No, I wasn't training him, but I was somewhat friendly with him. And somehow I got invited over to his house. And his house was, you know where Venice Beach is? What's the beach to the left? Keep going.
Malibu?
Before Malibu. So it's like when you cross over Washington.
I forget what beach that is. You're right.
Well, it's an extension. It's the way nicer, ritzier end of Venice. It's
not Venice Beach. It's not Venice Beach. It's the next. I thought. No. Where did they shoot a Baywatch? Wasn't that on that beach?
I don't know, but he had a gross dated condo, and it was on the beach, and the studio used to pay for him to rent it. They rented it for him. And I remember he told me it was worth like $2 million.
Right.
And I went and ate over at his house at that condo. And it's funny, I was really young, but I knew how dated it was. It was just like from the 50s or something on the inside. But of course, it was like smack hanging on the beach.
Yeah, it's just to stop your story, because when I would walk along that boardwalk in Venice Beach, and I would look at these little houses, and some of them were like Ed's, like amazing, and then some of them were like these little bungalows. I was just like, fuck, man, if I had balls, man, just to live in these, even the little bungalows.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of movies back in the 80s and 90s, if you remember, that actually had people living in these little places that they would film there, these movies.
So how I left Venice is, I was at Gregory's and we went out on the deck, and I was like, you live here? You live here? It's just mind-boggling to me, because I'd never been to a house on the beach.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I went out to Maine, and I didn't know that, to visit my folks, and I did not know that there was this was like 1989, 88. There was a real estate crisis. It was the S&L crisis going on at that time. It was like the real estate crisis of 2008, but back it up 20 years. And everything was being given away. And I bought, for literally nothing, a condo that would make his look like junk.
Right.
On the beach. Granted, it was on a beach in Maine that's, you can only use the beach 2 days out of the year because it's freezing. But my inspiration was going to that house.
Right.
And that's how I left Venice, because I was like...
Oh, you started doing real estate over there, okay.
Well, no, I mean, I went
Maine.
out...
Yeah.
I went out to Maine, and I could get Gregory's $2 million condo for $164,000.
Wow. So that was the first thing you bought?
Yeah. And not only that, but at the time, I would look at... I can remember looking at a condo above a 7-Eleven. So a 7-Eleven was on the first floor, and condos were above. And they were like near Ted Dixon's.
Oh my God.
And they were like 1 bedroom, 1.5 baths for like $390.
Yeah, they were insane.
So I I did not realize that real estate prices were different in different parts of the country.
Right, of course.
I didn't know. How would I know? I was 20.
The funny thing about Venice was it was a shithole back then, and it was still worth a fortune. I can't even imagine what that house must be worth today.
Oh my gosh. It was a shithole.
Now
List was right.
Now with Google there and everything like that, it's beautiful.
Yep. There was not one commercial property on Abbot Kinney.
Isn't that funny? It was like
in other words, it was
condemned.
Not one. There was nothing at all on Abbot Kinney.
I don't even think anything was open. I think they were all old, closed storefronts, right?
Yeah. Everything was either boarded up or there was nothing there at all. And I can remember when a coffee shop opened up on Abbot Kinney, and I was thinking, what?
Who's going to go there? Yeah, who's going
to go there? Like,
wasn't that where that Van Gogh's ear place was kind of like very close to there? Remember that place? It was like a little I don't even know if it's still open. Probably not. It was like a late night place you can get food 24 hours a day.
No, I'm not familiar.
Everyone would go there. You'd see Hulk Hogan in there. It was just great. And they made awesome food. It was really good.
Did you go there when Hulk Hogan was there?
I went there. Craig Titus told me this story. Actually, Matt Duvall told me this. Matt Duvall went there with Titus one day, and they met, and Hulk Hogan was there eating. It was like 2 a.m. I don't know if he just got in from wrestling or whatever. And Craig went up to him and was like, "What's up, Terry?" Because that was his real name, Terry.
Yeah.
And like he was best friends, and Hulk's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah. I'm Craig Titus.
Because everyone called him Hulk, even his friends called him Hulk, So that was, but I did see other celebrities in there though late at night. Not like B-listers. I saw Bruce Jenner in there once, and it was like you said, like a real shithole on Abbot Kinney. I remember didn't you have to walk up Abbot Kinney from Gold's if you wanted to get to the old World Gym there?
Yes. Yeah.
That big building.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is kind of weird. There's like nothing here. And now it's like like multi-million-dollar Rodeo Drive, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Anyway, if you guys want to hear more stories about Gold Gym Venice, listen to the Ed Connors interview with Arnie List, and Ed told some good stories. Everyone's asking me to get him back already, you know? The problem with Ed is that Ed forgets all the stories while he's on the show with me, and then afterwards he texts me and tells me all the stories that he should have told on the air.
Well, that's right. I mean, Ed's legitimate. You got, 20, 30 shows you can get out of him.
The funny thing is that Ed downplays everything so much too.
Of course he does.
Right, doesn't he?
Because he's got to be. Of course he has to, because he's got 30 years of nonsense that happened at that house that where do you even start? Like, one story leads to another, and you say, like,
but he says it so nonchalantly, like,
Well, because everyone stayed at the house. It's not like, I have a house. I had a house and I had two good bodybuilders come and stay with me.
Ed had all these rules. Did you stay at that house on the beach?
No, I never stayed.
Okay. Let me tell you my experience with it. I've told it before. I don't know if people remembered. He called me up. Like, he always gets your phone number somehow. It's Ed Connors. What's up, Ed? You want to stay at my house? Well, when? He's like, well, you're doing junior nationals, right? I said, yeah, I don't know how you do. Or no, maybe I did junior nationals, and he saw me there. And he's like, holy mackerel. He goes, what are you doing next? I said, I'm doing USA in 2 weeks. He goes, why don't you stay at my house? Want to go to Venice? Stay at my house? I said,
nah, I'd rather stay in New York and go train for the show.
I said, of course. So he gave me the keys. He's like, here's the keys. Here's the remote control to the garage. He's like, this is what you got to do. He gave me the address. He gave me all these instructions. I was so nervous. So when I got out of the junior nationals, I had driven there from New York to Washington, D.C. It's about 4.5 hour drive. I had to drive back, and then I booked the flight Monday. So I drove back on Sunday. Monday morning, I left for California, stayed in his house with my girlfriend at the time for 2 weeks or 10 days, and then I flew.
You must have loved it. That's your lifestyle to a T.
But Ed was there, unfortunately. If he wasn't there, it would have been better. He came like a day or two, or the day after I think I got there, and there was like, take the garbage out. If you didn't take the garbage out, he had like a nervous breakdown about the garbage, and so if everything wasn't in perfect order, and I was pretty neat, he had a nervous breakdown, about that, which he deserves to, because the house was gorgeous. He had one of those like Sub-Zero freezes,
Oh yeah.
with like unlimited amounts of food in it. You could put it in. The thing was huge. And
was that the first time you'd seen a Sub-Zero?
Oh yeah. I didn't even know what it was. He had to tell me what it was. I had no clue. I was using those little
because it's so funny.
Little college refrigerators,
Yeah, well, Sub-Zeros are like, the first time I saw one is in LA, but they're like a dime a dozen, because it's like when you move
it's
to
like a
LA,
Viking stove. It's like a Viking oven.
Yeah, everyone's. It seems like everyone except the bodybuilders at Gold's have money.
Yeah.
So you go over someone's house, right, and they get like a Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
You're like, what type of refrigerator is this? It's like something that should be in a restaurant.
Yeah, it's like 10,000 times more expensive than like your conventional refrigerator.
Yeah.
Gorgeous stuff. The house was absolutely. And then I remember he said, okay, I just want to let you know that, Craig Tynes has got the keys to the house too, so don't get scared, because he'll come in and he goes up to the roof and he tans. He likes to tan naked up there. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. I hadn't met Craig. Was like a celebrity to me in my mind, because I had never met anyone really.
Yeah.
And sure enough, around lunchtime or 11 o'clock, I hear the door open, and Craig walks in. I'm like, hey, Craig, I'm Dave Palumbo. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, oh, yeah, Ed told me, you were staying here, and, good to meet you. Good luck at the USA,
Yeah, I'm going to the Olympia in his Ed.
Yeah, well, he was doing the USA, too. That was the year that he lost to Phil Hernan.
Yeah.
So he went up there, and we started talking. We talked a little bit, He was very nice to me, and, I guess he figured I wasn't really a threat to him at that point.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
If I was, he wouldn't to talk to me so much. And, he would go up to the roof. He'd tan for about an hour and a half, something like that, come down, leave. I'm sure Ed loved that. Craig was
It's funny. People don't even tan.
No, they don't tan anymore. It's the stupidest thing not to tan. It's like painting black walls without putting, a primer on first.
No, because it's so true, because if you tan a little bit, even a little bit, and get a good base, and then put Pro-Tan on or something on.
So much better.
Yeah, it gives it a deeper, a realer. It just gives it it's a better look.
A richer look, yeah.
And a tan, right? I mean, I just talked about this. I've talked to people ad nauseum about a good tan when it comes down to. I sound like Bob Gruskin. When it comes down to two good people, very close, a good tan will win it for you.
Absolutely. I've seen guys win shows that weren't even in the best shape just because their tan was so dark that they just made them look better than they were.
Yeah.
So I stayed there. Loved the house, of course. I love the fact that you can walk out and you're right on the boardwalk right there.
Oh, what better than that?
So you know what I did? It's just because of that, because I was so like enamored with that like whole setup. Whenever I would go to Venice, even after I was competing, when I was actually covering. Remember they used to have that Flex show there.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, they had the Flex magazine show. I would stay at the Venice Suites. Now the Venice Suites was further down, right in the heart of like everything. It was like past.
Which used to be what, Marina Pacifica?
It wasn't the Marina. No, it's not the Marina Pacific. This Venice Suites was actually on the boardwalk. Like you literally came out of the door, and you were, by the tattoo place. I mean, you were on the boardwalk, in the middle of the boardwalk. There was no air conditioning in these rooms, which you don't really need. It's weird.
Yeah,
You don't really need it. You get a good breeze in there. They had a fan in the room. They were small. There was no amenities. The beds looked like I had them when I was like 8 years old. It looked like the bed I slept in. And Chris Minnis, who now promotes all those shows, The Legacy, and he did the Ferrigno. Yeah. He was like running the hotel, and he had just left, but he still had a connection there. And Bill Comstock had put me in touch with him, and he got me like really cheap rooms there. They were like $100 a night or something like that. And no amenities whatsoever, nothing. But it didn't matter. I didn't care. I just wanted to be able to walk out onto the boardwalk there. I can go eat any place. There's a million food places. I didn't need room service or anything like that. It was like basically I was staying like in a hostel almost, a youth hostel.
They have them there.
I know, but it was great. I loved the whole
that's the
hippie lifestyle. Yeah.
No, that's why I know you like Venice, because you're kind of like a hippie.
I guess at heart, it was just awesome just to walk out, because I was living in New York at the time, and to go from, it was freezing cold there. It was February. I went there and I'm like, it's so warm. I just walk out. I'm on the beach. I could just walk around and just see all the weirdos there. It was great. I mean, I don't know if I could live there every day, for forever, but that had to be like the dream lifestyle, right? I mean, just to be able to, if you had money and you didn't care and you could have a house right on the boardwalk there, holy mackerel.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the good old days. But
you can rent them Airbnb. We rented someplace like.
Oh, you did?
2 feet back from. Yeah, last time I was there 3 years ago. Me and my wife and kids stayed at a killer place. It was probably 3 houses back from the boardwalk.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and it had a big deck and like views in the ocean.
And you guys had a good room probably too, yeah.
Oh, we had a killer. It was beautiful. It was someone's duplex. They lived on the first floor and they rented the second.
Man, wouldn't you love? I mean, you're a real estate guy.
Yeah, we loved it.
Wouldn't you love to own something right on Venice Beach?
Walk. Believe me, I walked in. I was on the internet.
Well, you really
20 hours a day. Yeah, looking around, see what was available.
Everything's completely overpriced now. There's nothing you could buy there that would be like. I mean, you even the biggest shithole. It's like New York City. You can't even buy anything there.
Yeah, no, I saw something the other day. Like in Venice, it was a 2-unit, and like 2 1,800 square foot units, and I think it was like 4.2 or something. So they're like $2 million a unit, only 1,800 square feet. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths.
What could you rent it for?
Oh, not enough
Nothing.
to recoup.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's one of these things, like if you have a ridiculous amount of money and you want to say I live on Venice Beach, you buy a house there. I mean, that's it. I mean, what do you think Ed's house is worth now there?
I don't even know.
I bet
Give me the address and I can Google it. You can go on Zillow and find out what it sold for the last 10 years.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to check that out. Ed actually has a new gym idea, new franchise idea.
I heard.
Yeah, he sent me the I'm not going to talk about it. I'll let him talk about it next time I have him on the TV show. But it's an interesting idea. It definitely could work. It's not the next Gold's Gym Venice, that's for sure, but it's definitely something that could be very popular. And it involves virtual reality training. I don't know if you know. I didn't know this. You know Ryan DeLuca from who
Bodybuilding.com.
Bodybuilding.com?
Yeah.
He invested and invented. I don't know if he invented or if he just bought the technology. A virtual reality training system. Like it's a big machine you kind of like hook up to, and it's like you're training, but you're training in virtual reality. So you're like it's like you're playing a video game, but you're actually moving and exercising while you're doing this. And that's the whole concept. One of the concepts of this gym has these virtual reality machines. They believe that Ed thinks this is going to be the next big thing. For business people, guys maybe women go to the gym 3 days a week. They do these virtual reality like workouts. It's an interesting concept because if it's lifelike enough, it might work.
Yeah.
It might work. People don't want to really go to the gym 7 days a week.
No, they don't want to go at all.
They don't want to go. So if they can go there and do something that's a little, because people get bored real easily. Mm-hmm. But people love to play video games. So imagine playing. It's like playing a video game, and you get a good workout in. I was doing that Wii for a while. That.
Oh yeah. The kids
video game?
The video
where
Wii.
you're actually swinging a racket like you're hitting a tennis ball and bowling. I was exhausted. I was going into the AFib. I was going into the ventricular tachycardia from that game because my heart rate was getting up so high.
Well, my 6-year-old used to play that. Was it my 6-year-old or maybe my 14-year-old? And we were bowling on that. And then when we went to bowl, he couldn't understand why he was not a good bowler.
Yeah, it ruined you. Yeah, it ruined you.
Because he was a great Wii bowler, but a terrible real bowler.
Oh my god! And when I play with such enthusiasm, like that, like I'm like way overexerting myself. You could just flick your wrists, probably. I'm like swinging like I have a tennis ball in my hand.
Of course,
a racket. I'm using good form. If they ever had a weight training version, I'd be.
I like the tabletop tennis.
I haven't played that one.
Ping pong. Oh, it's a blast.
Yeah.
You get the crowd in the background. They
cheer.
Someone
should make a bodybuilding one. They should make a bodybuilding game like that. That would be great. Well, I guess that's what, but the thing would be. That's what virtual reality training would be, right? Bodybuilding.
Yeah, something like that.
But you should be able to pose at the end of your session. You should you should have a posing room in the virtual reality game. After you do your bench press workout, you should be able to go and do go into the posing room with like Chris Cormier or something like that. The game and hit a few poses. Holy mackerel! Well, Christmas is this Wednesday. So I know a lot of people are going to be celebrating, getting a lot of gifts, and everything's going to be close. Down here in Florida now, all the snowbirds are down here now for the holidays, and it's packed. Yeah. So I don't mind it. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. We went to this Sky Zone place, the trampoline park for Logan's birthday. I think I mentioned that.
Oh yeah, I've been to those.
When Amanda took him last year there. He was like, you're younger. He was afraid to do everything. Now
he's going crazy, sweating to death. Yeah,
he's fearless, but he doesn't really, he doesn't really have great balance yet. So he's still a little dangerous jumping on those trampolines all over the place. But what a great concept. I would have loved it as a kid. And now they have all the Ninja Warrior, that Ninja Warrior, all that like different stuff. You can run up the hill and they have all these different setups there. So I was trying to get him to run up this ramp, which is he's way too small to do it. But I'm like, you got to run faster. You got to run faster. Reach up. You can do it. And he must have run up this thing at least 100 times, and he couldn't get up to the top yet because he's just too small. And he was so, he loved it. I kept saying, come on, you can do it. I kept making him go back further to run further. We were almost out the door. We were so far back.
You just wanted him to sleep. That's all.
Yeah, believe me. Yeah.
Trying to tire him out.
Yeah, but then I told you he drank half a cup of coffee when he got home.
That's right. And he still couldn't make it up the mountain.
No, this was after. If he would have done the coffee before that, he might have gotten up the hill. So, yeah, kids are fun. Christmas will be fun when they open all the gifts and everything like that. And I guess everyone out there, just make sure you are safe. Don't drink and drive. And have a great Christmas. And we'll see you back next week. We'll do our year-end wrap-up show, I guess, next Monday. Are we going to have time? Yeah, that's before New Year's, right?
Yeah.
Or is that going to be on that's the 30th? Okay, yeah. So we'll do the year-end review next week. Our good friend Derek, who sent you all those little gifts, he said that's a good top 10 list. So if anyone else has any top 10 lists, top 10 stories of 2019, you guys can send it over to me, and I will take the best stories and put them into. What I'm really basically doing is have someone do my work for me. I don't really want to. I can't remember anymore. I can't remember all the great stories of 2000.
Yeah, you get confused with like 18.
Yeah. I don't even remember. So many. Unfortunately, a lot of the stories revolved around people dying, and that's not something I really want to remember. But
yeah,
some of the deaths were monumental in a sense. But time never stops, right?
Yeah.
Can you believe we're going into a new decade? It's
yes,
nuts.
we are. It's so funny you say that. I just read. It just hit me the other day when I saw it on the news. The 10s are gone.
Mm-hmm. So here, final. I know. I'll. Everyone's probably really enjoying the show. I'll ruin it for everyone now. Do you think Trump will get impeached? Well, he is impeached, but you think he'll be impeached?
Yeah, I predicted that before.
You think he'll be kicked out of
office?
Wait.
Take that back. I did. You can go back to text messages.
No, you said you told me he was going to be impeached, but that's no.
Typical. But this is when he was first elected. I said that.
No, I know you did. You did say that.
Only because I said he was
impeachment. Really doesn't mean anything unless the Senate votes you out. Will the Senate get rid of Trump?
No.
Okay, you don't think so. I don't think so either.
No way. Not any way in chance will they.
So you think this is just like a propaganda type thing? You think they're just doing this to try to hurt the re-election campaign?
No, because I think they're doing it because they think he should be impeached.
I know they do, but they kind of timed it. Why did they do it 2 years ago? That's what I'm saying.
Because he didn't have the call with the Ukrainian president where he said, okay, go to the microphone and tell him that you're investigating Joe Biden, so that when he goes to his rallies, instead of saying lock her up, he could say lock him up.
Right, I got you. That's funny. All right, guys, once again, have a very happy holiday and make sure you're safe, and we'll be back before New Year's to take out the year. Send your stories. And Chris, what do you got planned? Anything for you? Going to stay in? You're in Florida now. Are you going to be down here?
Yeah.
Through New Year's?
What's the weather's just horrendous, dude. What happened?
It's been raining. Well, I'm happy it's been raining because we hadn't had water.
Windy as can be.
My fruit trees are doing much better. It'll warm up. They get schizophrenic behavior down.
It's warm. It's just that it's just crazy windy and no sun.
Yeah. I know. Well, I don't. Only the people that come from the north concerned about that. I'm actually happy that it's
you could give a crap because just when you blink next week you'll have another spring of 14 days of perfect weather.
That's right. It actually got cold here for a couple of days, and then everyone's like, "Oh, it's freezing." I'm like, people buying. I'm like, don't buy winter gear. It's only going to be cold for 3 days. I said.
Well, the first time I ever came down to Florida was it was for the national. It was something like the Nationals, and it had to be. Twin Labs sent me down. Bleckman sent me down. It was 80, 88, 89.
Mm-hmm.
And two things I remember about the wackiness is, this is a true story. We were flying to Fort Lauderdale, and I did not know, but we landed in Miami.
Oh boy!
Can you imagine? We flew on a plane, a real jet from Miami to Fort Lauderdale.
Really? You could have driven.
The flight was 3 seconds.
You probably waited longer in the airport than it would have taken you to drive it.
But we did. And then what was the? I went to the mall, and I saw winter jackets, and I was like, what are those for?
Yeah, people. I don't even know why they sell winter clothes down here. I don't know what the reason is, but
they had big, pretty big winter jackets, and I guess someone told me. I actually asked someone, and the lady said that people, elderly people,
my father would wear one. Yeah, he would wear winter jacket.
Get cold for 2 or 3 weeks out of the winter and need a jacket.
My father would be bundled up like an Eskimo. Yeah, he would. My father. You could ask Amanda this. My father would wear this winter jacket he had. I'd come to his house in the winter. The house would be 100 degrees. He'd have the heat. I can't even imagine what his oil bill must have been. He didn't care. He had the heat so high in the house that it was almost, you could almost feel, you know how when you walk into a sauna and the heat hits you?
Yeah.
And he had a winter jacket on with gloves. And I'm like, what are you doing, Dad? And then he had a space heater in his own room upstairs, which was like you walked into the fires of hell.
Why was he so cold?
He had this thing that his arthritis was going to feel better if he kept it warm. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense to me. I mean, if you have arthritis, keep it warm.
The funny thing though was when I brought him down to Florida and he was in the Gulf Coast Village, it was freezing. I used to freeze going in there. He didn't have any jackets on. He didn't have it. There was no heaters in the room.
He forgot he had
arthritis. He forgot that he had arthritis. That's tells you how bad it was. It was that he forgot about it because his memory was so bad. But he liked his winter jackets. That's for sure. All right, guys. As you know, we're done. Until next week. Remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.